Hello everyone, hello. This will be a short stream. Not the full 2 hours, which I do deeply apologize. Reason being is by the end of this at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, I will have 4 hours of sleep. So please do understand that this will be a short one, and for those on YouTube, please be okay with a very short video. Okay? Okay. Oh. So take a deep breath. My cousin just woke me up. Not woke up. My cousin just messaged me. He's like, "Don't you gotta wake up at 3 a.m.?" I do. Yes. Hold on. I don't want my family members to be, concerned. Rather fascinating. Very well. Let's go to just check something. I have a message and I want to check it, but I don't want to at the same time. He's getting scolded. There we go. I had to use some colorful words. Alan, we have quite a bit of news as we've finished all of the following authors' stories. We finished The Haunting Minute. As of right now, let me double check. Oh. Oh no, there's another one. 2 days ago. That's a fast window. Unless, no, those are two different entries. Oh, you cannot drop a new story and not tell me. How dare you? Hold on. How dare you not mention new story? How dare you? I'm offended. Not really though. How dare I? How dare? Right, well. So, no, so outlast, am I right? you did not. Oh my god. No. I forgot about the deal. Oh no. Fuck. I think they reached 101. Oh no, I'm gonna have to play horror now. Oh, good heavens. Oh, I still need to play Elden Ring too. But I need to figure out how to get the death counter going. Then again, I could just play without it. I don't necessarily need the death counter. God damn it. Oh, my bad. I didn't even know you hit the mark. What do you mean you didn't even know I hit the mark? Now the death counter is necessary. See, the thing about the death counter, the computer can't run the death counter. As I was looking more into the specs, this computer physically is not powerful enough to run streaming and also keep track of internal websites. Like, if I were to take a picture of my OBS, I didn't know you had 101. I didn't know either. Like, if I were to take a picture for my OBS, my scenes is just my gameplay, my overlay mic and Elgato, and then me streaming. My CPU is at 100%. So it's either A, I need a better CPU, which could be manageable, which I think like those are like $40 a pop. But I don't even know what CPU would work for one. Or get a whole new PC, which, yeah, Outlast because of spooky season. No, yeah, that's fair. I do want to play Outlast because of spooky season. I want to play a horror game. Actually, we can quickly take a detour. We can go to My Games and Apps. I was thinking about playing either Dead by Daylight for some spooky season, some more Scar Ritual, some probably try to stream I Am Alive, or because I do have access to the full library. Because I did Alien Isolation last year, which that was fun. More Alien games actually. Can I filter by genre? Genre. Is there horror? No. Damn it. Most of the things are single player, so where is it? There was a game that did catch my attention. Oh, Baldur's Gate. Is that Baldur's Gate? If so, then catch my attention even more. Anyway, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm pretty sure it's called Evil Within. Can just go to the there's also Dead Space. Here are the Evil Within games. These did catch my attention as well. Possible. Oh, right. I wonder if I can actually go to the whatchamacallit to see the trailer of it. Should have a trailer. Really? No trailer? Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Huh? You were a great game series. You did deserve this. Huh. Yeah, this was a game that did catch my attention. It does seem like a fairly good horror game. There's many other ones. But I was thinking about playing one of those for later today. Well, not really later for today, but for later down in the line. So, as for now, take a breath, relax, sit down, make sure you have your cups of teas or water, which I don't have any. I'm gonna suffer. As for now, let's get ready. And tell me. I can't read any of their stories, so we'll go to Doberhawk and read some of his stories. Post. There's a story that just caught my attention and I have to go refine now. Where is it? Ah, here we are. Hydrate. I don't have. Let me go get water. Let me go get some. We'll be back. I returned with water. And I can come now. I've now hydrated. Have you all hydrated? Please say yes. Anyways, loud. That was very loud. I hope I didn't make some of you deaf by how loud that was to the mic. Relax, sit back, and tell me. Have you heard this story? Posted on r/sleep 8 years ago, Reddit user Doverhawk, we have the 2016 clown sightings. Last October, the world was affected by one of the single most bizarre cases of terroristic incidents in modern history. Starting in the summer and increasing until the end of October, numerous cases of attempted kidnapping, murder, and robbery by men dressed up in clown costumes were reported. Many of these cases occurred in the United States. However, over a dozen of other countries were affected by these attacks as well. This consistency of attacks by men dressed in clown costumes sparked not only school closures, but also created a modern-day witch hunt. It was mid-October when the next-door neighbor went missing. He was 12 years old, and by this point, with the clown sighting phenomenon, it was quickly speculated that this was a clown-related incident. In the days leading to his disappearance, several town residents even reported having seen a man dressed in a clown costume walking down the highway along the tree line in the forest on the south side of town. When he disappeared, it was after school. He simply went to school that morning and never came back home. The school was only a few blocks away from home, so he walked almost every day that the weather was agreeable. During the time following his disappearance, when his mother and father were searching desperately for any sign of their son, I did my best to avoid them. In fact, even though we were somewhat good friends, I haven't spoken to them since the day their son went missing. I haven't spoken to anyone about that day. But as we near the anniversary of that day, I can't help but keep quiet about it. I saw what happened to their son. I was walking my dog that day and saw him. He waved at the even waved at the boy as he crossed the street. If I close my eyes, I can still see that scene, like the image of a bright light that's been burned into your retinas. He's walking along the tree line, about to take the shortcut through the canal road and bisect the trees. I enjoy walking the same road as many other residents of the neighbors do, and so I followed him. I don't know if I actually intended on going the same way when I initiated my walk, but suddenly the idea came over me to go that way. It was a compulsion I couldn't ignore, like the need to drink water. I crossed the street, then probably about 50 feet or so behind the boy, I made my way down the dirt road, then ran along the canal. I remember getting a sense of uneasy then, in a way that was only described as the feeling of a child that gets when he knows there's something under the bed or behind the closet door. I didn't see the man until it was far too late for me to take action. He was maybe 3 feet from the boy, hiding in a brush. When he stepped into view, he didn't leap out and yell like they do in movies, but simply stepped into the road with a calm demeanor, and that sent chills up my spine and made my flesh and arms roughen up. I opened my mouth to yell, but before I could, the man had grabbed the boy from the back of his neck. My dog, whom completely forgotten about, began to bark and snarl. Without hesitation, I let go of the leash and bolted for the man in the clown suit. The clown picked up the boy, who was doing nothing at all to save his own life, and carried him into the woods. I was closing in on him, but was still roughly 20 feet away. I below my brains into the empty forest, but nobody except the trees heard me cry. As soon as he crossed over the tree line, I lost sight of them. I stumbled into the woods, and the dry leaves crackling beneath my step, and found a sick sensation of disorientation coming over me. I collapsed onto my knees, and the world spun. I felt the warmth of blood on my upper lip. Then everything went to dark. When I woke, perhaps roughly an hour later, I was to the whine of my dog in my ear. My eyes fluttered open, and I first saw my dog's short snout, and then I sat up and my vision focused. I saw the clown. It stood there motionless in the fading light like a statue between the trees. I saw blood dripping off of its hands. I tried to scream, but I couldn't find any voice. My dog whimpered and backed away from me, terrified of the clown just as I was. It stepped forward, and its hands rose to the mask as I scrambled to my feet, slipping over the dry leaves as I did so. I grasped the grain of hair on the top of the mask and pulled downward, and what I saw beneath the mask was something I wish I could forget. Where its eyes should have been were nothing but pale white skin, and below that there was a lump of a nose that looked like it had been carved by some amateur sculptor. Its mouth was smeared with blood, and its thin lips parted in a sick smile. I saw sharp, crooked teeth, and then a thick, thin black tongue. My dog whimpered and pulled out my pant leg with his teeth. I turned on my heels and just ran. I've never told that story to anyone. I don't think anyone would have believed me, but it's been a year now, and I think it might be coming out again. I heard on the news of sightings even sparked up again. Do not let your children out of your sight, and if you see a clown, run. That's a good short story. Shorter than his usuals. Clowns October. Is this 2016 again? Of course. Of course. Let's see. Oh, this one comes with a warning. Oh, goodness. On to the next one. Tell me. Have you heard this story? Posted on r/no sleep 8 years ago by Ready User Dover Hawk. We have The Dog That Followed Me Home. Warning, violence against animals are depicted in this story. Note, this is a story meant for the point of entertainment. A dog followed my neighbor and me home from school when I was in the 6th grade. We walked to and from school together, and I remember this dog just suddenly showing up. We figured it came from someone's yard and just decided to follow us that morning. It was friendly enough, so we let it go. When we got out of school, the dog was waiting for us. It sat there in front of the school building, staring at the doors, waiting for us to get out so it could walk us home. It had matted gray fur, no collar, and blue eyes. I remember looking at the dog's eyes, thinking how odd it seemed that a dog had blue eyes. Surely it happened, and I remember my grandmother's dog having a single blue eye after I got old and it started to go blind. But this seemed different. These eyes were almost like navy blue, and when the dog looked at you, it almost felt like it was looking through you. This went on for about a week before my friend decided to ask his mom if he could just keep the damn dog. It would hang out around the neighborhood when we were home. It'd sit across the street. We played in the yard. It followed us every morning to and from school. His mom made us post found dog posters around the neighborhood, but let us give him table scraps after dinner, and said that if nobody claimed the dog in a week, he could stay at my friend's house. A second week passed, and nobody answered our posters. My neighbor's mom was a little dissatisfied with us because I think her logic behind us putting a poster was that such a well-trained dog surely had owners looking for it, but a deal's a deal, and my friend got to keep the dog. We sat up by the bed in the corner, and we set up his bed in the corner of the bedroom, and bought it a metal food bowl and water dish from our lawn mowing money. The next morning, I went to pick up my friend from school, like we usually do, and I went pick up, and as I was similarly ready before he was, but it happened occasionally. Sometimes I would be ready, but it was still rare. I remember knocking on his door and hearing the hollow sound of my fist against the wood and waiting to hear the movement on the other side. But I was met with nothing but silence. I knocked again, louder this time, but again nobody answered. I finally decided to open the door. I announced myself loudly, and again nothing replied except the deafening silence inside the bowels of the house, the bowels of it. I remember feeling the hair on the back of my neck stand on its end as I took a step forward and put my backpack down next to the door. I went up to the stairs and looked through the kitchen where I thought surely I'd find my friend's mother, but the room was empty. The kitchen table was still covered in dinner dishes from the night before. Half-eaten slabs of meatloaf sat cold on plates, as if everyone in the family suddenly forgot about dinner and didn't even bother to clean it up. I went down the stairs to where my friend's room was. The door was ajar, and I noticed a strange smell, which grew stronger as I approached. I pushed the door open, not sure what to expect, and recoiled as I saw what lay behind the door. I ran out of the house, forgetting my backpack, and called my mother. We called the police and came quickly with the sirens and lights, and a team entered the house. 5 minutes later, they left and knocked on my door. My mother answered the door with me next to her. The police officer asked me if I was sure of what I saw. I told him I was. He asked me to tell him again. I told him I opened the door and saw the remains of the dog. It had been following us around. The fur was matted and bloody, and I could smell the sour blood. But the scream but scared me the most was what probably bothered me and made me run home screaming and crying was the fact that the dog's stomach was void of any internal vital organs whatsoever. Its skin looked like it had been peeled back, like something had crawled out of the dog. Police officers told me that they went into the house. They found nothing out of place. No leftover dinner, no dog, nothing. He asked me and my mother to keep an eye out for the neighbors, then pulled my mother aside. I'm sure he told her something about me having an over and active imagination and the severity of fraudulent 911 calls. I never saw my neighbors again, and a couple of years later, the house went back up for sale, having been repossessed by the bank due to missed payments. I never spoke to anyone about the dog again, and honestly, I was really beginning to think that I imagined the whole thing, and that perhaps my neighbor's dad had fled with the family to Mexico for tax evasion or whatever. I lived the next decade of my life working to believe that what I'd see in my friend's basement wasn't real. I only write this now, admitting my childhood trauma to the world, because this afternoon my daughter came home from school and told me about a dog with the perfect and prettiest blue eyes, who had followed her and her friend around for the past few days. Expected that to be a lot worse, really. I really did expect that to be a lot worse. Yeah. Oh, come here. There we go. There we go. So, a strange one, really. Let's see. Do you just take a quick sip of water? Okay. Let me just quickly look through my chat messages. Very well. Okay. Now on to the next one. by Reddit user Doverhawk. Posted on r/short scary stories 8 years ago. Tell me, have you heard this one? Have you heard this story? Mr. Nobody. Do you remember when you were a kid and you were terrified of the monster in your closet? You would cry to your parents and maybe even beg for them for an extra hour before bedtime, just so you could avoid being alone in the dark with the monster. They would tell you not to worry, monsters aren't real, and they would tuck you into bed, maybe read you a bedtime story, and just before they turned off the lights, you would have them check for the monster. For the safety of your own bed sheets, you would catch when you watch them across the room and open the door to the closet door. They would push your clothes aside and show you that the closet was empty. Nobody was there. When your dog started to bark in the middle of the night, his teeth baring, his fur bristled, and his eyes staring unmoving outside into the backyard, you get up and pat him on the back and tell him not to worry. Nobody's there. You're home alone and your parents have gone out and you hear a knock at the door. You get up and cross the house and answer the door to an empty porch. Nobody's there. You hear someone call your name. You hear the cupboard door creak close. You hear footsteps moving around upstairs and thumps and bumps in the house of the night. But it's okay. The house is just settling because no one's there. You wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. Your hair stands on the end and your skin prickles. In the darkness you can barely make out what seems to be a shape of a man standing at the foot of your bed. You hear his raspy breathing and you feel the chill in the air. He starts getting close. And he's always been getting closer from the moment you first saw him in your closet. Nobody's there. That was a nice short one. Of course, we're gonna flip that one. Excuse me. Sorry. We would have read all the previous homeowner ones. Even another one from r/short scary stories. Posted 8 years ago by Reddit user Doverhawk. Tell me, have you heard this story? New Year's resolution. I'm at a New Year's Eve party. It's boring, so I thought I'd go ahead and write to all my fellow Redditors out there. Along with the copious amount of alcohol consumption, it seems like everyone here keeps talking about New Year resolutions. Everyone has them. My buddy Paul wants to stop drinking. He says just before he takes a few shots of tequila. Brittany wants to sleep with fewer people. I just watched her go up to the stairs with some lucky party goer. Adam wants to spend less. He wants to spend money less ferociously. He bought all the booze for his shindig and just left to get more. Tiana wants to lose weight. I just watched her finish the last 7 slices of pizza. I have a resolution as well, but just like everyone, I'm not sure if it's going to last long. I want to stop killing people. I say this as I hide under Sarah's car, waiting for her to step outside so I can slip my knife through her ankle. It's still 2017, right? That took a turn. Okay. Okay. We would have read all the Welcome to Iris. Oh, goodness. I don't know why. And I know why I'm tired, but like, I at least want to get an hour done. Okay. Well, tell me. Have you heard this story? Posted on r/no sleep 8 years ago by, of course, Reddit user Doverhawk. Paz. P-A-Z. When my son was 7, he developed an imaginary friend named Paz. It creeped me out at first, but I eventually got used to the idea that he had an active imagination and was just expressing it in his own way. I even did research on the idea of imaginary friends, not having one from my own childhood, and found that almost a third of a child between 6 and 7 years old having imaginary friends. My wife and I decided to play along, and eventually Paz became a part of the family. He got his own place at the table for meals and had a spot on the couch next to my son during TV time. Every now and then, Paz even got into trouble after being blamed for breaking a window with a rogue baseball and coloring it on the walls with crayons. Instead of arguing with our son about lying, we would let him make a choice between telling the truth for a lesser sentence. Sometimes he would come clean and just say it wasn't really Paz that colored on the wall, but for some of the worst offenses, like the time the lamp was smashed, he would insist on his own innocence. We would tell him that if he told us the truth about what happened, he wouldn't be grounded. As long as he stuck to his guns, we stick to ours. Ultimately, though, the inclusion of the imaginary paths became somewhat unsettling. I can't exactly pinpoint the moment becoming uncomfortable with it, but almost overnight, I was done playing along. It was maybe 6 months after Paz entered our lives, and that just seemed long enough. I stopped setting up places for him at the table. My son was distraught at first, throwing fits and saying that Paz was upset, but after a few days and the threat of punishment looming over his head, he began to comply with the idea that Paz needed to be around for playtime only. 6 months later, almost a full year after Paz had first made his appearance, I had almost completely forgotten about him. Even during playtime, he was nowhere to be seen, having been replaced for imaginary space aliens and robots or whatever little boys can conjure up in their imaginations. One night, though, after reading my son a bedtime story, he looked at me and said, "Paz says to tell Mom goodbye." I stared down at my son, not sure how to react. Paz's name hadn't been spoken in months. So why now is he coming up? What do you mean? Paz says he's gonna take Mommy somewhere, so you gotta tell her goodbye. When did Paz say that? Just barely. Playing along, as I had a year before, I turned to the side of the bed where Paz would sleep, and said, "I'll tell her for you, Paz. Just make sure you keep her safe. You're gonna take her on an adventure, alright?" My son frowned. He says it's not an adventure, and he doesn't sleep next to me anymore. Couldn't you see him when you came in, Dad? He's standing in the corner behind you. Oh no. I smiled and tried to maintain my composure, ignoring the thousands of spider legs which were crawling up my spine and into my hair. With a kiss on the forehead and a tight hug around my neck, I bid my son goodnight and shut the door. I didn't want to know how unnerved I was when he said that. The way he looked at me with his wide, earnest eyes as he told me Paz's message made my skin break into goosebumps. After 15 minutes of internal debating, I called my wife, just to make sure she was alright. I couldn't get the nagging feeling of unrest to subside without at least talking to her. She was working the night shift at the hospital and had a few more hours to go before the shift ended, but just hearing her voice would calm my nerves enough to at least fall asleep. I told her about her son, what her son had said, and she reassured me that it was just our son's imagination, but hearing that did surprisingly help a little. She didn't see the look in his eyes, didn't feel the chill in the air, and didn't feel like someone, even now, as we spoke on the phone, was watching her. I told her I love her and hung up the phone. 3 hours later, as she drove home, she had a brain aneurysm. She didn't even make it to the hospital. The last words I said to her were the ones I spoken during the phone call. Paz had taken her away. The next year was hard on my son and I, doing our best to make things as normal as possible. Paz came back even more prominent than ever, and the psychologist said it wasn't unusual for a child to see comfort in an imaginary friend, specifically if that friend had been there before my wife died. But that didn't help my own appreciation about the mysterious Paz who had told my son that his mother was going to die. It was a year later, almost to the day, that I heard my bedroom door creak open. My son's bare feet pad across the hardwood floor towards my bed. I opened my eyes and saw his face, pale in the dark, peering over the side of the bed. Paz says I have to tell you goodbye now. I immediately wake up. Why? Huh? Paz says I have to tell you goodbye. I picked him up and tucked him into next to me. Paz isn't real. I said, not sure if it was more for him or for myself. You had a bad dream. I'm not going anywhere, so you don't need to tell me anything. Promise? Promise. We fell asleep 10 minutes later, wrapped in each other's arms. When I woke up the next morning, I was alone in my bed. I sat up and felt the panic creeping into my chest, until I remembered clearly that I had felt my son slip out of bed sometimes in the middle of the night and heard him pad back into his own bedroom. I got out of the bed and walked towards his bedroom door. I just needed to see him to make sure he was okay. Then maybe I could go back to sleep for another hour or so. The first thing I noticed when I opened the door was the scent of bitter iron. The next thing I noticed was the blood. It was dripping in thick strings as my son's bed sheets into the floor. My son's body lay in bed, twisted and sunken, as if someone had hit him with a car, then carried him back and tucked him in. The coroner said she hadn't seen anything like it. It was as if he'd fallen from a two-story window into concrete, and the forensic team said that the blood spatter told the same story, except that there wasn't any hard enough surface in the house to make that reasonable possible, at least of all in his own bed. But that's all they could make of it. For a while, I was under investigation, but no evidence to support the idea that I did anything to my son. The case was dropped and put into a cold case files where grieving parents spend their times. That was 10 years ago, and although I'm done my best to move on now, it still hurts to write the story. I've done my best to move past all this, and I promised myself I would never even speak of Paz again. But that was a promise I've now broken, because I've been reading The Exorcist of William Peter Blatty, and just recently made the connection which, if I don't share with someone, will eat me alive. I never questioned where the name Paz came from, because I just assumed it was a nonsensical name. I never once considered that perhaps Paz was short for something, like Pazuzu. Ah, that is. Oh, that. I was expecting maybe him to wake up into the afterlife, not him to wake up to find his son distorted. Hmm. Hmm. That is. That. That's a turn. It's a. Hmm. Very well. I liked it. Can't upload it though. Ah, fascinating. The Welcome to Odin story has been removed. Luckily, we've read Welcome to Odin. Hmm. So you can go back to see the past parts of my streams to see how that is. Hmm. Let's see. Uh, okay. We have a good amount of stories. Most of these are parts. If I could, I'd like to record me reading these parts separately. I'll need to talk with Dover Hawk, because I'm running out of stories. Well, no, I still have the Eerie Bros. I still have them. and asked us to shatter their world, which that is a long amount of reading, and I don't know if I'll be able to do that one. We're gonna have a quick little side tangent. Shatter, Reddit user shatter underscore their underscore world. They are an author that is dedicated to their craft. I will admit. If I recall correctly, they mentioned that they have 600 pages. Oh, I don't know if I can read 600 pages. hmm. Uh. Oh, okay. So I would need to figure out some. I want to figure out some short stories. Excuse me. I want to get permission to read some short stories, because I like the idea of being able to just read, record, and just upload. Of course, not so haphazardly. I want to be able to, edit things if I can, and use that as like a baseline to understand the editing, if that makes much more sense. So, yeah, that should be fun, I hope. Okay, so we'll be reading some of the short stories from Dover Hawk. Reason being, just to get an understanding of some of the short stories. So, for me myself, just to be able to get a pacing of it. So, if I, this is just more for personal reasons. Okay. Tell me. Have you heard this story? Lightning and Thunder. Posted on r short scary stories 7 years ago by Reddit user Dover Hawk. The rain pattered noisily across the window, and the lightning flashed in the sky, bathing the dark room, bathing the dark bedroom with momentary light. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Thunder cracked in the distance. Sam rolled over in his bed and squeezed his eyes shut. He hated the thunder. The lightning flashed again, and although his eyes were closed, he could still see the light in the window through his eyelids. He counted again. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Thunder cracked. The storm was getting closer. He clutched his teddy bear, Charlie, tight against his chest and willed thunder to go away. The lightning flashed again, and immediately the thunder boomed outside his window. He sat up in his bed, scared stiff, working up the courage to brave the journey of the stairs to his parents' bedroom. The nightlight in the other end of the room provided just enough light to see, but the moment he reached the hallway, he knew he wouldn't do much good. Suddenly the power went out, and his room was bathed in darkness. The bedroom door slammed shut, and Sam screamed. Fumbled quickly for a flashlight inside the drawer of his nightstand, he flicked it on quickly and pointed the shaking beam at the bedroom door and saw that it was still closed. It took him only a moment to realize it hadn't been his bedroom door, but his closet door that slammed open. His flashlight died. The lightning flashed, illuminating the dark shape standing in the corner of his bedroom. Sam began to scream, but wouldn't be heard over the sound of the thunder that followed. Oh. Oh, good heavens. No, I can't float down. Here we are. Okay. Let's see. many theories that Dover Hawk has, and I can't be upset because, well, I mean, they do what they can. I will need to ask, though. You know what? Let me ask them now. Hey, mate. If I could record self reading some of your series story. I always misspell story. I somehow put the R in front of the O instead of after. On to YouTube. I doubt they will respond. I highly doubt they will. If they do, well, I'll be damned. I'll be very much damned. The chance of it are slim to none. But then again, as I remember, they were awake at this time last time I messaged them. So maybe. Oh, I pretty much, of course, giving you full credit and leaving links in the description. Because most of the stores that we have left from... Oh, gee, you're online? Oh, God. No, goodness. Oh my God, that honestly scared me. I was like, all right, let me just quickly, let me just quickly just close the chat. And all of a sudden, I just see the notification like last night. I'm like, I'm sorry. That honestly scared me. It shouldn't have. Okay, but Doverhawk has a, but they did say they did give me permission. Hello, yep, go for it. Which I must say, I forgot. Let me quickly just respond. Thank you, mate. Oh, you know, let me, not a thread. Let me actually do a proper response. Oh God, what the hell? Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm headed to bed. Let's stay over here. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you, mate. Any long story you'd want me to do first? Same here. It's 10:50. Okay. Okay. So, I'm currently learning how to use a editing software for the first time. Hello, OBS. I didn't mean to just, which is Filmora. It seemed like one that caught my attention. I was gonna use CapCut or whatever that is called, like CapCut or whatever it is. But when I got to their website, to download their thing, it was just filled with and pushed with AI. If I'm not mistaken, I could double check it. Maybe they fixed it. I heard people say that, yeah, just looking at this CapCut, there it is, that's the name of it. Like going on their official website is kind of just filled with AI things. Yeah, powerful editing with exclusive effects, but then when you scroll down like once, where AI powered meets professional editing experience, which, okay, they have like a whole section dedicated to just like a bunch of AI. But I wanted to try out the more first because it seemed much more user friendly or beginner friendly. Watch me be horrifically wrong. Though luckily OBS lets me record things without stream at the exact same time. So there might be a chance I could do death counters like that, because that means it's less stress on the CPU. It's not having to stream and also keep track of it. But the exact same effect, the death counters are fun. That's the thing that makes it fun. But there's just some things. Though, did you know how much stories Doverhawk has about just better long form content stories? Like, for an example, their most recent one, Sometimes the Road Signs Lie. It's a three-part. It's a small one, but the contents in each one is an metric amount. So it's like I'd count it as 2 for each one, so I'd say like 6-part. Then the one below that is My Daughter Who Went Missing 3 years ago just showed up on my doorstep, part 7. And these, if I'm not mistaken, this one was one I wanted to read, and it's also a long one. Part 3 is the one that concerns me the most, as that one has a not safe for work tag and animal abuse on it. Does it have a warning? It does not. Very well. 10:53. I have time for some short stories. So we're to go to the Erie Bros. And yeah. Wait, I already read all of their stories too. I did read all their stories. Did I notify them that I read all their stories? I don't. Oh, I don't think I have. I don't go notify them. I'm not like trying to like push them to read more. I just want to like show them like, hey, yeah, I read through all of it. You know, the gold star right here, man. I don't expect anything. Officially read your active stories. Okay. So I've read all of Erie Bros, all of the Librarian Chicks, Dover Hawk. I have to read all their stories online, or not really online, but like recorded. I want to do that. Haunting underscore minutes, the same. Shatter Their World. The more and more I look into it, it pains me. I want their story to like be known. They did such a good job at their story. It's just a lot of reading, and my fish brain is like very blub. Oh, what's this on Doorhawk? Okay, so I asked Doorhawk, is there any long story you'd want me to do first? And he responded, My Daughter Who Went Missing 3 years ago just showed up on my doorstep is a pretty long and probably my most popular babysitting. As my most popular. Babysitting Instructions is another one that did well. It's short, but there's 6 or so stories that tie into that you can get back. That you can go back to back if you're going for longer stuff. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Start with my daughter went missing 3 years ago. Just showed up. First, then try to see how the to see what stories is, or not babysitter instructions, is its own like theories, which I probably should check first before I say such a thing. It's babysitting instructions. Baby sitting. I'm pretty sure just type that into their thing. Ah. There's 6 parts to it. Okay. Okay, let's see the stories of babysitting instructions. I should actually ask Haunting underscore minute for something real quick, but I'd like to ask you guys get to hang out with me for the passing moments. I promise you, when I record these, or if I do have enough stories to record with, I can assure you that, hey, if I do get the permission to read these and record them, you're not gonna have to deal with these random pause moments unless I forget to edit them out. You'll be able to hear the story full-fledged. Knock yourselves out. There. And I'll give credit and link them to your Reddit page. Well, wait 8 minutes. I'll just wait a bit. How's everybody doing so far? Everybody having fun? Hopefully. I like how some people like message me about like, oh, he's streaming these to pay bills. No. Even then, these short stories at most like get like played like 1 or 4 ads, which each ad's like maybe like less than a penny. I think it's like one actually fourth of a penny. So I think every 2 hours of me doing this, I get a penny. So it's like, I do this out of my own entertainment. Very well. We'll see. We'll see if we can get some news on some of the store. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't feel bad. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I don't feel bad. I feel bad. I just wanted to say that because I'm live right now and wanted to show off, wanted to bolster how I finished all your stories. Please don't feel bad. I thought I had read the stories for 3 authors, but you are fast. Oh, and thank you. Very well. As for now, then, I suppose as much as I'd like to keep going, I have to go to sleep by 5 hours of sleep. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Try your best to smile. Make the world just a tiny bit better if you can. And until we meet again, hopefully, when we meet again, you will be hearing my voice either through streams, reels, or something, or just recordings. Because if I'm able to see how the pre-recorded stories go compared to the streams, if like the pre-recorded stories are like, oh, they're more popular, I might lean more into that than just leave streaming to just gaming and me being me and casual things. Like the more, like how some YouTubers make, oh, uh example, like, oh, the dark side of eclipse, or like lunar eclipse represent the dark side of the moon for like horror, then solar eclipse, if that's how they did, to like represent eclipse and more, like to represent just me, just being me. I'm gonna just keep everything under one umbrella. I don't want to do all that spreading. But yeah. So, oh, I got another response. I got 2 responses. We'll be on breaks. I have much free time. I think I'll post one at 5 p.m. my time today. Oh, no, no. Oh, no. My poor boys. Oh, wait. No. Did you ever write the story of the mimic creature? And so what did Dover say? Can I call you Dover? Hopefully I can. Dover Hawk. Sounds good. Let me know how the missing daughter story goes. I'm working on the second draft of a novel based on that story, so I'd love to hear if it does well or if it flops. Hopefully, my small community enjoys it. Oh yeah, wait, no, this person was Dover. I don't want to say this person. Dover was also working on a story. Also, how is your do I put quotation marks? I guess inter story. The one of person. Hopefully I can. I like being able to talk with the authors. I'm glad I have the privilege to do so. I'm so happy I do. I'll probably continue talking with them off stream. Most likely. Yeah, I don't see why not. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get going. Thank y'all for stopping by. It means always to what you guys do. Try your best to smile, leave the world, and try your best to make the world a tiny bit better. And until we meet again. Well, we got another response. Can't even say goodbye. Like a dog? I want to do a dog. What do you think I should do? Oh, the dog idea was pretty interesting. Well, as a nerd, as a nerd myself, depends. Is a true like anything. It can be liquid. It can be a liquid or glass. How? I know that there's a mimic, a whole house. Feel like that one would be hungry. Buying a home. I need to discover the live. Hungry. I'm still on a fine line between engaging and gimmicky, so I'm trying to make sure it's done well and that the concept is original. Oh, that's amazing. Well, reading your stories, I'm sure you'll find. I'm sorry if I speak what I type. That's how I am in real life. My girlfriend hates it. Sure, you'll find a way to make it work. I don't think she hates it. It's much more of a. I could be texting something to her and I just read it out loud. Okay. Uh, can't write injured? Is Twitter not allow injured? Yeah. D&D stuff. For monster that there, but if you want a whole setting, there's a D&D horror monster that has little information, but it's still scary as all hell. Hail. There we go. I'm like, that sounds wrong. Yeah. Me saying HE double hockey stick sounds wrong, but me saying hail, like the weather, that sounds perfectly fine. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Or even I don't know anything about TNT. Oh, oh. They just respond because then I'm talking about like haunting me of like things and I like just got like D&D monsters that could be terrifying, like the mimics, because the idea of a creature being able to take any shape, any form, anything that it wants is horrifying. So yeah. So then I'm telling them about other mimics or like other creatures, like the Bagman or the false Hydra, like the cliches. And they're like, oh, I don't know anything about D&D, but I'll see some YouTube videos to get some ideas. I'm like, dude, you'd be an amazing game master. I'm just, is all I'm saying. Anyway, I gotta get going before I stay too late. So, thank you all for stopping by. Main source what you guys do. So, good night. Try your best to sleep. Don't eat planets or stars. If you've been here long enough, you know what I'm referring to, but please don't eat the planets and stars. Please don't.